This week, we'll be talking about research, how research is done in psychology, and how research can be biased with regards to gender. Some of you may have already taken a course in research methods, and the first lecture will largely be a review, but this may be brand new material for others. The fact that research is done is often taken for granted. Well, of course, people would do research to find out that answer to that question, but the average person likely isn't aware of all that has to happen in order to get to the point where you can actually do the research. Any research involving people or animals has to be approved by a committee to make sure that it's ethical, that it won't hurt the participants who are involved. And the researcher has to have a pretty good reason for why that research is important. Unfortunately, after taking the time to design and carry out an effective and ethical study in order to answer a particular important question, sometimes, not always, but sometimes, the media twists the story to make it more interesting and a little less accurate. This often happens with research on gender because everyone wants to hear how and why men and women are different, because it fits with our cultural views of men are from Mars and women are from Venus. So it's important for you to start questioning the research that you're reading about. Maybe someone posts a link on Facebook to a Psychology Today blog post about a recent study that found gender differences on a cognitive task. Who's the author of that blog? What are their credentials? Are they talking about published research or something that hasn't yet been accepted for publication? The latter means that it hasn't been peer-reviewed by others in the field. Can you find the actual article? Who wrote that article? Does it seem well thought out, well written? Does the research make sense? What conclusions did the original researcher make? Are these the same conclusions that the blog author is making? Does the blog author or the original researcher seem to have an agenda? Do they seem biased for or against a particular gender? There are a lot of questions that you need to ask when you're reading about research to make sure that you're getting the right story, not just the story that the blog author or journalist or whoever is trying to tell you. And it can be confusing and it can sometimes seem like everyone is biased, but most researchers are doing their best to be as objective and unbiased as possible. But it's always worth looking at everything with a critical eye.